Okay, we are live. And I have not been able to figure out, because I like to have it on my YouTube on another screen, and I can never figure out how to mute it so I don't have that little back play.
Oh, I gotcha. Usually when you hover over the screen, there should be like a volume tab. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyways, because once YouTube registers it, if you have your volume all the way down or muted, it basically cancels out the view. Like it won't pick it up as a view.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
there's a mute, but I can't mute it until it goes live. It won't let me mute it until it goes live. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you so much. Sorry for anybody that was hanging out waiting for us. We were running a little behind. I again forgot to send the StreamYard link to my guest. It happened, I think, last week or no. Well, when I did the Scott the Bearded Picker, I had actually sent it to him like a week before that, but it gets buried in the chat, so we had missed it. So we have a few people here. So the Texas Bandit is here, and I see right here she's sitting at, or he or she is sitting on my desk, so it's not going anywhere. And every day I'm hustling. Thanks for stopping in.
Nate, what's going on, man? Hey, Jennifer.
I know. So I should tell Nate, though, that I was just listing my cards on eBay, by the way. Put them in their protective sleeves.
Oh, you got on the Mosaic bandwagon, I see.
I did. So I had a live yesterday. And and in my live, well, for the first half hour, they jumped on with me because I had some packs I wanted to open, and they jumped on to help me through because I don't know anything about anyone except for the oldies. Like I had a Larry Bird and a Stephen Curry stuff. Those are the only names I recognize. I don't really recognize the newer names.
Nice. Looks good though.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I think I had like 4 cards that were maybe around $30-$40 each. Mm-hmm. So it more than paid for the 3 packs that I have. I actually got 35 packs, but I'm selling the other ones unopened.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's see. Where did I leave? Over here, Jennifer. Thank you for stopping in. Oh, got you right there. He's saying hi. Larry's here. Hey, Larry. Sorry I didn't make your 1 o'clock show. I was busy. Dapper Tiger saying hi to yourself. So, okay. Not saying hi to yourself, but saying hi to others. So how is the new fatherhood going? You probably keep getting that question every time you show up somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of newness as far as like new schedule, learning how to cohabitate with a new personality. And yeah, I mean, and we're in an apartment, so like every time he starts crying, I'm like super mindful, but it's okay. Like we have new neighbors downstairs and they have a new baby. So we hear him cry all the time. So
so that the sounds do travel through the walls though.
It's funny because like we had a neighbor last year. She had a 4-year-old and she used to apologize profusely. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry if you hear my little one." We never heard a thing. It wasn't until like this year, for whatever reason, we hear our neighbor, their kids like just running marathons up and down the hallway, and then our downstairs neighbor will hear him cry. But it's never like at an unreasonable time, So it kind of comes with it when you're living in an apartment. Otherwise, everybody's like keeps to themselves.
Yeah, it's not too bad until you hear a baby crying for like 2 hours, and then you're like, either something's seriously wrong or those poor parents having to deal with a baby crying for 2 hours.
I mean, it's they're crying for one of 3 things. They're hungry, they got to go to the bathroom, or they're gassy. It's kind of pretty straightforward.
Right. Yeah.
Once we add emotions and desires to the mix, I think that's when it starts getting a little tricky.
Yeah, and a baby crying isn't as annoying as when you start to see like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old temper tantrum, and then in public, sorry, I forgot to mute my phone. That's when you're just like, oh my gosh, bring that kid outdoors, bring him somewhere else. I don't want to listen to him try to eat. Depending on the type of restaurant, of course.
Yeah. We got him pretty figured out. He's pretty easygoing. I think too, some of it is the newness of everything. You start to think about like the first time cold air kisses your skin, and you're like, whoa, what is that? Even just like washing him. He's like, oh, something wet touched me. What's that?
Right. And not this like constant temperature that he's had for 9 months. It's just,
Yeah.
just different environment, lights and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. My second child born I had a girl and then a boy. Of course, they're like older. They're probably your age. I don't know how old you are, but my daughter's 28. But he had colic and he would cry from 6 in the morning till 11 at night. Thankfully, he would sleep at night. And my husband, we took turns getting up and stuff, but nonstop crying. He cried so bad that he gave himself a double hernia.
Yeah. It's alarming when you start seeing how red and upset he can get. Like, holy smokes! Like, you're just very, very angry, and you're kind of like, look, kid, I'm trying to do my best,
right?
So you gotta work with me here, but
trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So I mean, we do our best to kind of read the nonverbal, so it's all good.
Yeah. So Cody did say, yeah. Where's the baby?
Baby is in front of me in Christina's arms. We just put it to sleep. He was up. Probably today has been the most alert, so I was just trying to keep him up and awake. Oh, you're bringing him over?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's always nice when you keep him up and awake so he sleeps.
Yeah. So I was just hanging with him on the couch, play guitar.
Oh my
God. Here's his little mush face. Look, dude, you're YouTube famous.
You are.
He's got his I love me.
Beauty. Oh my
there you
God.
go, Cody.
Yeah.
I say don't play gates on one person, but there you go.
I don't know, how do I make you on the big screen? Oh no, it took you away. I don't know how to make you the big screen. I'm not that familiar with no, that kicks you and bans you. I don't want to do that. No, that doesn't do it either.
Oh, good.
So I don't know how to do it. Otherwise, I'd make you the big screen. I guess maybe I remove myself from the.
Oh, there we go. Wait. Well, I am now in control of Tamara's show. I think she booted herself out of her show. So this is the dappers of Cubs, Nate. So.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
I was hoping you could still hear me when I did that, but you can't. So I don't know. No. I'll have to find out how I do that at some point. How I share and put you there, because I know it can be done. I see Victoria doing it in the morning.
Yeah, Cody, I stole some of James's weed and I gave it to the baby. That's what I did. Right there.
I got him to sleep.
I mean, honestly, it's just been because we've been doing our homework as far as what kind of nonverbals that we need to look out for, and we happen to be blessed because we're not we work from home. So there's no rush to kind of be anywhere. I made a couple of sales today, so I just had to message folks like, hey, can I just have the day off today and ship everything out tomorrow? My wife just had a baby. And, everybody's super understanding too. So
yeah, just adjust your timing. Your handling time. Oh, you're on Macari. You sell mostly.
I'm on Macari. Yeah, I don't
sell anything on eBay at all.
I sell here and there, but it doesn't. It doesn't really hold a candle to my Macari sales. Maybe it's the way that I'm listing. I honestly, though, I do put way more effort into Macari than I do eBay at the end of the day, because I primarily list from my phone, and it's easier just to do in a Macari listing than it is an eBay. Even though all I have to do is just copy and paste the listing. No, you're good. Copy and paste the listing and bring it over. So.
Okay. Yeah, I list on Macari too. I cross post everything. So these cards I'm putting on eBay today, and then tonight I use cross list it $10 a month and cross post everything. Yep, and it cross posts it right to Macari for me. I mean, you still got to do a little bit of work. You have to it'll download the photos again if you want to, and then I just drag them quickly. And
this is from eBay to Macari?
Yeah, eBay to Macari.
Nice.
Yep. So, I mean, it takes a little work because if you sell something on Macari or eBay, you got to remember to take it off from that other platform.
Yeah, that's happened to me one time with a pair of shoes, and it really hasn't happened to me. Because I tell myself all these limiting beliefs, what if this happens? What if it double sells and it sells on Macari first or whatever, But that doesn't really happen. I should list more, especially the cards. I think cards do better on eBay. even if like you have the lower value dollar amounts, like because on Macari, like after anything lower than $9, you can't really promote. So
Right.
you can't really get the luxury of getting pushed to the front or the top of the page if you got like a low value card. And there's no way you could get away with like what Rev Resale's doing. I don't know if you know anything.
With just putting a stamp on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I
So
think Mercari, you have to have at least tracking.
right,
But
right.
I'm doing tracking on all my cards on eBay also because I mean I put down a flat 350 for
Mhm.
shipping because that's the most it'll cost for me to go from New York to California.
Yeah.
And and I want tracking anyhow. I don't want to lose my top rated seller status. I get a discount and stuff with that. So not that I'm doing a lot of it. I think maybe if I even at some point if these don't sell, I'll probably just drop it down to the 60 cent shipping. I'll do free
Yeah.
shipping and throw a stamp on it because I think if I do 10 of them out of my sales a month, it's not going to really make that much difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff do you sell on Macari?
I would say a majority of my store is probably video games and shoes. I don't really do much clothing, and then I have a few like one-off like vintage stuff, like vintage Band-Aid tins and things like that. So I just sold. I have a couple of things like HBA things like discontinued OPI like nail polish. Like I just sold my first one like the other day. Got it for like 50 cents at
Oh wow.
estate sale.
Yeah.
Sold it for like $26. I was like, I'll take it.
Was it a discontinued color?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So and it had like a lipstick with it too. So it actually had been sitting there for like a few months, and like my wife was like, I don't know if this is gonna sell, man. So it did, and the woman had messaged me like, "Oh, I've been wanting this, this color. I've been trying to look for it everywhere, just haven't been able to find it." I was like, "Well, here it is."
Wow, that is awesome. When I started selling full time on eBay 3 years ago, I've been selling since '98, but 4 years ago, we were in the process of moving, and I was going through my husband's stuff, and he had a bottle of cologne that was old, just it's been sitting on his dresser since the '80s.
Wow.
And I listed it and sold it for $125. And I was just shocked that it sold for that much money. And then my brother, he's like, "Hey, I got a bottle of that also. Can you sell it for me?" And so I listed his and sold his for him also.
Yeah, even just a little bit, right? Like I've seen some of those like part-time pickers and other folks who've done like the perfume and cologne sales. It's wild to me.
Yeah. So Cody said, yeah, people get their faves and get pissed when they're discontinued. I run a Facebook group, and I posted on the Facebook group that some discontinued products to look for, because there's a couple of people I follow on Instagram that post when they discover that are discontinued and to look out for. And so I posted some of those, and I saw that Victoria this morning was saying she actually set up a reminder in eBay to send her an email every day. You know how you can set up your favorite searches?
Yeah.
And she set up one of those so she can kind of keep track of all the discontinued products that are coming out and which ones are going for bigger money to keep an eye out for. So I do have, let me see, I got some questions. Mine are all reselling related. They're not usually just random ones, because I feel like a lot of people come here to get some reselling tips. So when you do list, do you like the fast nickel or the slow dime, or do you do a mixture of that?
I'd like to do a mixture of that, because I think that it's a balance, right? Like if I put too much, like let's get real, like buyers don't always read your descriptions and stuff. So I've learned not to like just toil over and overthink it like it's some sort of, doctorate level research paper. It's just, I just need to, be as straightforward as I can. But I also don't want to be so brief where like, because I'm on Macari, if for whatever reason there's a dispute on the item itself, I have my, all my bases covered. If there are any flaws or anything like that, obviously I want to note those, because if there's a discrepancy, like the buyer makes a mistake in reading the description, not my problem. Macari will back me on that. So it's just up to me to, kind of make sure that, I have enough depth and breadth but I keep things tight and concise as well, so I'm not wasting my time, the buyer's time, but also put it in a way that I can like maximize my sales.
Right. Yeah, I actually had my first return on Macari last week or the week before.
Mhm.
And I wish they would tell you why the person wanted to return it. I just got a
Sure. Yeah.
notification saying they wanted to return it. They were reviewing it, and it took them like 3 or 4 days, and they came back and said they denied the return. So I don't know why.
Oh,
Why? I mean, I didn't have to take it, but it still would have been curious to know if they felt there was an issue with the listing, because it's always good feedback to know if maybe they misunderstood something and I wasn't clear.
yeah.
I can make sure I'm clear next time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the nice part. And typically what that means is that the buyer failed to read the description.
That's
That's
what
literally what, yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. It was just a little plush Care Bear uh,
Yeah.
that they got and sent back. I was excited to get it out of here because it's been on there for quite a while. For a while, the Care Bears were selling pretty good, the vintage ones, and this one has
Mhm.
been sticking around. So I see that we have the Dragon Value Home. He just popped in, and I'm sorry you missed. The baby was actually on earlier.
I know. So you're gonna have to help Tamara out and go back and rewatch it anyways, so she can get those like minutes and click through rates and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I did share my Yellow Brick Road reselling, my Facebook group.
Mhm.
Junk had asked for what it was. I just wanted to point that out in case anybody wasn't really paying attention, but listening and not watching the chat. So where's your best place to thrift? I think I've watched all of your videos.
Yeah, I don't have many.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, for a guy who seems to be like everywhere, I was actually
Yeah.
surprised by how few videos you really have, because they're very entertaining. And I've been
Thank you.
watching a lot of what the Hales has been on. I know he must be doing some advertising campaign or something, but he's been on all these channels lately that I've been watching. And he was talking about telling a story. And immediately when he said that, I thought of you, because you definitely tell a story throughout your process of your video, and they're very entertaining to watch.
Thank you. Well, it's funny because we actually have What the Hales. We're interviewing him on Friday on OBX's channel, and we're going to talk about YouTube. Because, like, I think as a reseller, as just anybody who's owning a business in the digital age, like, man, you can totally utilize Facebook, social media to really beef up your store, your business itself, and marketing yourself. So, like for me, I can't really produce videos like Cat or Part-Time Picker. To me, I can't produce them every day. Even if I did, the quality wouldn't be the way I want it. So for me to drop one video a week, I have to be, it's just kind of like my descriptions, like I was describing. I have to be a little tighter. I have to be a little more concise. I value folks' time. So to me, if you're going to invest 8 to 10 minutes, in my video, I want you to be entertained. I want you to walk away with some value, pretty much like what you're doing with your show, right? Like, I could ask you random questions, but I really want to serve the people, who are in the chats, who's watching and following along. I want folks to have a reason to come back.
Right. Yeah, because there's some reselling channels that I watch that don't really talk about reselling at all. And they're good I'll put them on just for background noise if I'm listening or something like that. But there's times when I'm like, okay, I just want to hear some nuggets of stuff. I just want some information that might better me as a business too. And sometimes it's really hard. Lately, I feel like it's been hard to find that. Either everything is for the person just starting out, which I've been selling for, it feels like forever.
Sure.
Or it's just not, just really not even talking reselling anymore. So it would be nice if there was more of those mid-level, okay, you've been selling for 10 years. Now what? Now what do we do?
Yeah. And you know what, Tamara? You might be the one that has to fill that gap.
I know.
Because think about it this way, right? Like you have your Scots and everybody, right? I guess the tactic is to target the newbies. If you're going to go to the evergreen space, the rewatchable stuff. But then, I think after a while, like the bigger cats, like they get tired of answering the same question, right? They've been around for however long, and I'm sure they've been asked the same comping questions, different, same bones, different skin, but they've been asked it a bunch of times. So I think that, you know, if you hyper focus and you niche down, like Jeremy will tell you from What the Hales, he started off just wanting to do videos with his daughter, and they were screwing around. It wasn't until he kind of thought, you know what, like we could probably do something with this for our business. He pulled George in, and and here he is. But he had to kind of get focused on what he wanted to do. Like I heard him talk about doing auctions now, and I'll let him speak for himself on Friday. But from what he's said, like I saw what was out there, it really didn't fit our model. It didn't really fit the persona that I wanted our channel to portray. So we went to the minute to win it like strategy, and that fast paced movement, that that kind of auction fit them more. And 900 people, at least last night on their channel, 900 people seem to agree as well. So.
Yeah, I was on there for a little while, not last night, a few nights ago. I was on for a little while, and I love that whole minute, like go through, because I was watching an auction earlier, and the person doing it was just chatting and chatting and chatting. The stuff sat up there for so long, and I was like, okay, no one's interested. Go on to the next thing. But I bet you he sells things at a much higher rate, at a higher price, because he says, all right, in a minute, I'm going to stop. So if you're bidding 50 and you're afraid someone's going to jump in at 60, next thing you know, you're throwing in 75 to beat that person who might say 60. And now you've just spent $25 more than you would have if you knew that nobody else was going to bid. So,
right. Well, and I think too, it's like tough because like I've sat in on some of the auctions. I've never really bought anything, and no offense to folks who enjoy the setup that's around now, but especially with a kid now, I can't sit through an hour and a half or 2 hours of BSing before we even start the auction. And then, just sit there and just painfully like, okay, first call. Tick, 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 tick.
Yes.
I'm like, do you guys even have a timer on? Like, it seems like 5 minutes has gone by and you're only on the second hammer. Like, what's going on here? And it doesn't even, like, if there are two people bidding at it, you have one who's finally like, I'm out. Even then, it's still like, okay, anybody else? Versus like it's them. I've seen Jeremy himself, like bigger bids have come in after he's called them in. He's like, nope, sorry, that's it.
Right.
And I like the way that they'll be honest about it. They had a whole bunch of bags, and they couldn't really authenticate it. So it tells folks like bid like they're fake. Like I don't know. And I don't hear folks say that kind of stuff all the time. So that's the cool stuff is beyond just the making money and finding a niche. It's the authenticity, I think,
Yeah. But I think that sometimes you have to, especially when you're starting out. And I was watching Nate and Anthony this morning, and they were talking about, I think it was Anthony's channel, and looking at some of his old videos that he did at the beginning and how much he's grown, and just even the thumbnails between then and now. And I think it just kind of takes you a while. Like, so you'll probably be my last interview on a regular scheduled basis. I've decided this Tuesday at 3:00 isn't really working. And now that the stores are opening back up, I'm an RA Amazon person. I love to travel and shop, and I go out and stay on the road for a few days in a row. And it's usually Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And so I'm trying to juggle doing YouTube as well as running a reselling business, right? I mean, there's a lot of reselling YouTubers that don't even really resell. So I'm trying to juggle all of that, and I'm like, all right, this probably just isn't really working out for me. And it was something I tried, and probably just go on and try something else and keep finding what my niche might be, if there is one. I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy helping people, and I'm sure you're the same way when you started to do it. It's fun, but you're very creative. I'm not.
I mean, I think you probably am. I think that folks, it's hard to like not compare because like I'll see other folks and it's like, well, Matt Part-Time Pictures is not creative. How did he get so many, views and things like that? Right. So I think we all have our own talents and we all bring different things to the table. Like what you may think that you're lacking with creativity, you gain with experience. You know, like I don't have the same years of selling, nor the eye for RA items. Like I'm still dabbling in RA. Like I've happened to just get lucky with all the pandemic stuff and having to pivot to RA and stuff. I got lucky and I didn't have to get stuck with inventory, and I was able to sell through stuff fast. And I hopped on some hype bandwagons along with that. So, but I think that, you know, for folks like yourself who's been doing it for a while, right? All the cautionary tales, the advice, like the thing that you're hungering for, why not offer that? Because I think that's like, you know, invention kind of comes out of like desperation and need, right? So why not? Like you could fill that space because nobody else is really wanting to.
Right. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a lot, or if there is, I haven't really discovered them.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the cool stuff, right? It's like kind of like finding an item that doesn't really have a listing, an active listing. Maybe there's some sold comps, but it hasn't been relevant in a while. So you're the only one in the space. Why not bid high or set the price high and see where it goes from there? You know, kind of create your own market. So
I always go high. So in March, I actually did a whole inventory. I have 1,400 items listed on eBay, and I did a whole inventory review when I was shut in the house, nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And you know, I usually always start high, but my process needs to be to review that on a regular basis to start to drop it down if it's not selling. Because there was some things I was like, I can't believe I'm asking $60 for that, but there must have been a reason at the time that I threw up 60 and dropped to 30, and then it sells pretty quickly. So yeah, just reviewing those every now and then to see. So I did ask you, so the best place to thrift, and I think I interrupted you, which is a problem of mine.
It's all good.
You know, my 51-year-old brain, sometimes if I have a thought, if I don't say it right then and there, I'll forget it. So
my favorite, so I have one particular Goodwill. I call it my honey hole. It sits right in between two wealthy towns. And I seem to always find really great items with really fair pricing. Whereas I've been to other Goodwills, like maybe 5 to 10 miles down the road. It's in a more impoverished area. And the items are decent, but the prices are astronomical. And it's like, and I don't really understand, like, how could this store being a poor neighborhood and actually be like ridiculous in price?
Yeah, are they owned by the same Goodwill? You know how like each Goodwill region kind of has its own. I don't even know who. I would say owner, but I don't think it's an owner. I don't know who owns it. But
so all the ones, there's about like 6 Goodwills within like a 10-mile radius of me. So I'm in a really good spot. 5 out of the 6 all kind of like work together, from what I understand. So if like I get a coupon for one, usually they'll spit out like a 20% off coupon for like holidays. I can use that at every single those 5 Goodwills, except for one. And then same thing for like a membership card. If you spend $100, you get a certain amount of points, and those points translates into dollars, and then you can knock that off after a certain amount of points have been collected. So I'll take advantage of those. There's one though that's over. I live by Craigslist Hunter. There's one that's over by him that is separate. They don't accept a membership card. They run their own sales. Here in Illinois, when things started to kind of open up, that particular Goodwill was already doing like curbside pickup and listing things online.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, that's actually smart. I've noticed that some of the wholesalers that I have been looking at previously to COVID weren't selling on Amazon, weren't even on eBay. One of them that I actually was selling on Amazon, I decided, I'm going to start selling some of these items on eBay, and they have a store on eBay now. And I'm wondering how many businesses actually pivoted themselves and went from, since they weren't sending to, you know, certain businesses anymore because they were closed, especially your small mom and pops that were closed. Yeah. Now they decided, hey, I'll just go ahead and list on places like eBay and Amazon directly to where the customer was shopping.
Because I know like Nate and Anthony talked a lot about pivoting to FBM at that point, you know, especially when it was like only essential items were getting sent into Amazon. So, I mean, I don't know about you. I know everybody during that time, they like, it seems to be better than Q4, more sales than they
Right.
know what to do with. I'm so exhausted from packing baggages, that kind of stuff. So
That's what I was hearing. I watched the Beer to Picker, and he's always was like, "Oh, I have 120 going out today at
yeah,
FBM
yeah,
that I got a package," and I'm like, "Where are you even finding 120 products?" Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
live in a very rural area, and I had to come to the conclusion that I can't shop like because you're right outside of Chicago, aren't you?
Like I'm an hour outside of Chicago. I'm in the burbs, but I mean, there's so much around me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fact
It's
that
very
you got
accurate.
5, 6 Goodwills, I have no Goodwills. My closest
Yeah.
Goodwill is 3 hours away.
So do
So,
you, because of that though, like I bet you not much has changed though, like with the COVID stuff, because you hadn't really tried to
well, the only thing that
source that
changed was
Goodwill.
I couldn't travel to do my sourcing, and there
Mhm.
wasn't really a lot of sourcing here. I mean, I have a Walmart. I have one Walmart. We have no Targets. A lot of the places that were still open, we just didn't have. We had a Walmart, and I have some close Amazon friends that were still selling really, really well on Amazon, doing FBM, and some of them even FBA because they were mailing in grocery items
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
were buying them RA and then and flipping them. And I'm like, I'm going in and there's like 3 boxes of rice left. I'm not buying
Mhm.
those 3 boxes of rice, even if I can make $5 on each box, because there's
Yeah.
only 3 boxes for my community. So I just
Yeah.
didn't, I just didn't feel right, and I made the business decision not to do that, and just
Yeah.
amped up my eBay, but I'm all right with that. Uh,
Yeah. That's cool.
yeah. So it's sometimes I wish I had all those sources and stores around, but it's one of the things that dragged me to it was the ability to travel. And if I
Yeah.
had it all around me, I'm not sure I'd ever travel because I would just keep shopping locally.
Do you go out really far?
So I'm in northern New York, right near Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like right across the border from like Ottawa is like an hour north of me.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So I've gone think as far as sourcing as far as Maryland. So we own a Jeep Wrangler, and
Hmm.
we go on off roading all the time, my husband and I. So we'll take
Yeah.
trips. I mean, we went all the way to California, Yellowstone,
Yeah.
back and stuff. That was before we really got into reselling full
Yeah.
time now. But we went to Tennessee last year, and I did some sourcing on the way down and sourcing on the way back. And of course, in a Jeep Wrangler, we're very limited on the space that we have in the back. So I didn't do as much as I normally do, but on the way back I filled up the back of the car
Yeah.
and I came home with a full thing. But yeah, it's fun. My mother goes with me on my sourcing
You
trips.
should bring the camera with you and
Well,
share that. I know with Amazon you can't share that much, but
I do, I have a small channel. So I was prepping an Amazon shipment on Saturday or Sunday this weekend.
Mhm.
And I went live for like 4.5 hours prepping it and showing everybody what I'm sending to Amazon, because I know I don't have a really large viewership right now. And when my viewership does get larger, I'll definitely be more cautious of what I share. Uh, and then the other thing is somebody if I get larger and people watch it, it's old information. If you watch
Mhm.
what I'm sourcing in 6 months, it's not really going to be relevant, or you're not going to find the deal like I found, because it's mostly clearance items and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to. So I didn't start my channel until February, and it was snowing up
Mm.
there, so I wasn't really going out that often anyhow. And of course, then March hit, and we haven't been out, so I really haven't had a chance. And there's no thrift stores open here. We have one Salvation Army, and that hasn't even opened yet. So
Mm. Yeah, I
even
know
though
New
we're
York is
in
pretty
phase two, we haven't opened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we did buy a GoPro, so
Hey, all right.
to use that and stuff. So I did see Flippin' Frozen said that. So have you been to the Goodwill Clearance Center in Rochester yet? And I have not, because Rochester is about 4.5 hours from me, I think.
Mhm.
And I have heard that there is so like the Goodwill bin. I've heard that there's one up in Canada in Cornwall, which is like an hour, maybe not even an hour, maybe like 35, 40 minutes from me. I just haven't gone up into Canada yet. I'm not sure how it works and Canadian money and all that kind of stuff. The exchange rate isn't that great, so
Right.
Right now, you can't go into Canada, so I haven't
Okay.
gone in yet. Yeah, we've only been here for a couple years. We moved into this area. So how long have you been selling on Macari?
I've had my account since 2017. So I've been selling on and off since then. I would say, I guess, when I officially slapped the I'm a part-time reseller label on it, January of 2020. So,
Oh,
um,
okay. So not that long.
no, I mean, a lot of the stuff too, kind of what you're finding with there's not people feeling that like what to do after 10 years of reselling space. Like I really didn't find that many with Macari. So I had to drift into eBay. And a lot of the stuff it's like, how to comp an item, how to figure out like your sell-through rate and things like that is translatable across all platforms. It's the other things like how the nuance of each platform works is different. But
Right.
having grown up with social media and having that kind of be a part of my life for as long as it's been around, like it's easy for me because I understand what the platform is trying to do as far as how to generate traffic, basically how you're going to get your product in front of somebody and get them to sell. So
Yeah. So I mean, I use Macari, but I probably don't use all of the things that are available. Every now and then I'll go in and I'll promote stuff, but I don't promote every day.
mm,
I get a lot of offers. Oh gosh, I had something I was selling for $86 and
mhm.
somebody offered me 99 cents. So, I mean, I get a lot of
Really?
really low offers. Yeah. So I countered like $80 and they countered like $2.30 or no, maybe it was just $2 even.
uh,
So yeah, because it's even dollars. So, and I was just like, that's crazy. So
I hear stories like that. Never happened to me before, but yeah.
yeah, so I spend a lot of time corresponding with people I find on Macari versus eBay.
Mm,
But it's weird how so in March I started really getting into cross posting. I kind of was dabbling in it and I was being really picky I was mostly just cross posting my video games, things
mhm.
that were more for the younger generation that might be looking at buying. And I said, I'm gonna just cross post all 1,400 items. I think I'm at 900 right now on
Mm,
Macari. And I find the back end of Macari is extremely difficult. Like when you go and delete something, it refreshes all the way back to the first page because I like to just kind of go down and see what's
mm,
still active in my store so I can make sure that I didn't forget to take something off.
yeah,
Um, so do you find like promoting your items has been beneficial or I mean, do you promote stuff there?
absolutely. I price things accordingly, knowing that A, I'm going to get low bid offers, and B, that I will probably promote it a few times, and each time I promote, that means a 5% discount. So I usually price my items depending on what it is, like if it was something that's like hot and trendy, like I don't know, Starbucks cups, right? That's on my mind right now. So if like I'm selling Starbucks cups, I obviously can't do that. I have to stay within, the range of whoever's trying to tank it and whoever's like got an astronomical amount so that I can sell. Uh,
Right.
but otherwise, if it's like a one-off, price it all the way up to like 30, 35%, and then start promoting it. And each time it's kind of like I'm trying to just get myself back up to the search page, and that helps. And if I forget, what Macari will do is they'll pull up some of your more like active items. People are looking at it or they're liking it, but it's just not converting into a sale. So I'm guessing Macari's theory is if you just drop the price, that'll be the thing that kind of motivates somebody to really buy it at the end of the day. Um,
Right. So when you actually promote it, are you promoting it to everybody or are you promoting it just to the people who have liked it?
I promote it to everybody. I rarely promote. I've tried promoting it to the likers, and it's almost like sending something to the watchers. But when I promote to likers, I'm automatically committing to a 10% discount.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so that's that. So I I rarely will use that because if somebody's interested, we'll talk about it. We're usually doing a one-on-one conversation off to the side anyways within the app. And we'll deal with that there. Because I think when I do the 5% promotion, all the likers will get it. Like they'll get a notification, hey, this thing that you liked is now 5% lower. Go check it out. And they constantly get notifications anyways. Hey, get this item before it's gone. Somebody
Right.
just liked it. Get this item before it's gone. Somebody just added to their cart. Somebody just made an offer on it. So every time there's action on the item itself, as far as getting closer to buying, Mercari actually lets all the likers know. So I don't feel like I need to drop my price down just to get a little bit more attention, even though, because I think dropping it by 5% and getting more likes, more people adding it to their cart will motivate the likers to be like, oh, well, I probably should do something about this.
Well, I was watching a show the other day on YouTube, and the person sells on Mercari, and they said, because I usually will promote it to everybody, and they were saying that they get a better conversion when they promote it just to the watchers. That's why I was, and I've done both, and honestly, I don't find either really really converts to me. Even dropping the price sometimes doesn't convert, and I don't know if people are watching it because just like on eBay, so many people will watch your items because they're resellers and they just want to see if you sell it because they might be competing with you versus how many people are watching because they're really interested in actually buying the item.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna, if I ever do shirts like merchandise, I'm gonna do don't like buy, because that's kind of like my pet peeve, I guess, is that everybody's liking, especially if I like post a hot item and it's like, okay, well, that's great that you're liking it. It'd be even better if you just bought it. So
yeah, or don't like, at least send an offer. And how come sometimes on Mercari there is that offer button, and sometimes it's not there? Is it not there when you first list something?
You should always have that offer button. I'm not sure why. Like when you're making an offer to somebody.
Well, no. So if I list something, sometimes somebody will send me a message and say, "Hey, will you take whatever for this?" And I'm like, "Well, why don't you just use the offer button?" And I'll go and look at the listing and on Mercari, and it won't even have where they could make an offer. They have to send you a message.
That's weird.
Rather than doing it the official way. And I've always wondered why it's like that. And well, earlier today I was looking at something on Mercari because I have a balance. So I thought, oh, I'll check Mercari first before I buy it elsewhere. And there was no offer button, and the price was a little bit more than what I was willing to pay for something. And I was like, I wonder why that is. Why do some have it and some don't?
The most straightforward answer I can think of is maybe a glitch. Because it is glitchy. There are times where like I send a message and it sends twice and I look like a jerk. Like, I don't know how that happened. I'm so sorry that it happened. Yeah. But there are folks that like they'll even ask like, is it available? And sometimes I wonder if it's just like the user too, who's just like not reading or paying attention, and they just go down to hit like the send a message button. Is it available? Can I haggle with you too? So, and then because I've had other folks like I've just been getting a bunch of requests and offers on stuff. So as far as the pricing goes, this is the tail end of what I was going to say. I also brace for a 20% discount offer, because that's basically what is, you'll see when you put up an offer, it'll say 20, 15, 10% discount. So what idiot is going to like do 20% and see what happens, right?
Right.
So, and then so I'll brace for that. And I usually will meet somewhere in the middle, somewhere around 5 to 10%. Of course, it's always nice when you price in the good sweet spot and somebody just buys it right away. But I don't find that to be as true or consistent, just pricing that way and hoping. I do see that like promoting is kind of like sharing your listings on Poshmark. It gets social engagement, social interaction. And at the end of the day, it's a platform. They want people to be on there. They want people to engage. even if that means that they'll give somebody a discount. Because sometimes, like for me as a buyer, like I'll get that for whatever reason they gave me a 5% discount on something just to motivate me to buy.
Yeah, I just had that coupon. It was what, maybe 10 or 25 after $100 for listing so many items.
Mm-hmm.
I, for the life of me, couldn't find anything worth over $100 that I wanted to buy.
Yeah. You know, that's annoying too, because they just started doing that like the last couple months. It used to not be like that,
I
where
would
you
have
could just,
preferred to take $5 off 20 because I could have found something in the $20 range, but I was
yeah,
having a tough time finding something,
yeah,
one item, or or even if I could find multiple from one seller.
yeah.
It's just tough. There is a question here for you though, which I was wondering myself too, is how often do you source on Macari? Do you ever find yourself finding things and reselling them?
Yeah, I mean, I find stuff all the time. When I first started out, it was just things around the house, video games, right? That's always been my thing. So it started off with selling Xbox games. Then I went to selling, like I sold a Roomba once on here. So I've sold. It's as far as finding things around the house, not hard sourcing stuff. I think when I got caught up in the YouTuber scavenger hunt. If you don't know what that means, it means basically watching a video, seeing somebody bolo something out, and then going to the thrift store and seeing if you can find those Toomey bags, San Marco blankets, vintage underwear. Like I call it the reseller bingo, I guess. Um, but with dude, I can see a Goodwill across the street from me right now. So it's not hard for me to go across the street. Right now, I don't have a sourcing problem. I have a listing problem where I have $6,000, $7,000 worth of inventory in my store. I probably have another $6,000 to $7,000 worth of inventory in my room right now that should be listed.
Yeah.
So I don't have an excuse to go and do more hauls. And like I have family members who are helpful as well. So I had one video where I had family that donated a bunch. I have our godmother has a storage locker. She used to be involved in the fashion scene out here. So she's got a lot of new old stock, like
wow.
stuff. She told me she has like a bunch of Burberry trench coats, new with tags, authenticated, sitting there. Has been sitting there for 10 years, I think she said. Something crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Like even like things that she's brought back, like first edition Pokemon cards, but all in Japanese. I'm like, I need to look through that. She's like, so whenever you can come and help, and like we'd be glad to like pick through it, and of course her kids are like having the nostalgia syndrome where they're like, yeah, but what if we want to play with it again? She's like, girl, you haven't want to play with that for like 10 years. What makes you want to play with it now?
Yeah, those are great items to be able to get a hold of.
Yeah,
sourcing doesn't except for when you're stuck inside a house. I should just do a haul video here in my basement. Hey, look what I just rediscovered in this basket. I watched the thrifting board, and Jason had that one night with his mother, was cleaning out some stuff in the attic or basement or whatever, and was finding all these totes of stuff she's thrifted years ago to sell but never sold. And 10 years later, and I'm like, well, that t-shirt went up in value in the last 10 years. And that's exciting to be able to do that. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. So Flippin' Frozen did say, I just wanted to point out that so when she does sales 25 to 50% off, and I never offer 5 to 10. So on eBay, I've been doing the offer to likers. And I didn't know this until recently because I used to do them individually, but you can click a button and highlight all of the items that are eligible for an offer and then just say a flat 10%. Yeah. And I've actually had a pretty good return on just offering that flat 10%. I think sometimes just somebody getting an email reminding them that you were watching this, and then they're like, oh, that's right, I wanted to get that, and I forgot to go back.
How many of us have like that shiny object syndrome? We're like, ooh, like the next thing, and it takes that little reminder. Because I've heard folks, they do well with even 1% to 2% little promoted listings on the weekends, sending them out to watchers and stuff, and they seem to do well. Everybody's got their own rhythm. I've heard Macari's sellers say, I only promote and list at 5, 6 o'clock at night or at nighttime. I only promote items on a Sunday afternoon. You know, and again, it's kind of like when we're dropping videos or dropping posts, we're trying to target and find folks who, like, what are you doing when you're sitting and you're eating? For the most part, people have their phones in front of their face, entertained. So I'm trying to predict when people's downtimes are, and that way I can drop an item and it's right in front of their face. Hopefully, you know, that's the game plan at least.
Yeah, I like Sunday nights. I like to do that because a lot of people are kind of winding down from a weekend. But if it's like a Memorial Day weekend, then I'll wait until a Monday evening to send offers and that kind of stuff. Things when you know people are going to be around, especially like on Poshmark, because they always have those promotions on Poshmark to lower your prices, send offers to watchers, and all this other stuff. So I try and time it correctly.
Yeah.
So have you ever given a dumpster dive item to a friend or a family member as a gift?
We we've thought about it. Actually, yes, we did. So yesterday we checked our dumpster and somebody, was it yesterday, 2 days ago? Somebody had thrown out an entire like living room set. Like
Oh my, you have the best dumpsters.
Yeah, it was like a 7-sectional leather seat couch, like, you know, an L-shaped couch. You know, the leather was obviously a little beat up at like the feet, but it looked pretty good. And there was also a TV stand. So I have a buddy who lives in the complex with us, and he's been in for like almost 6 months, and his TV is still on like cardboard boxes and stuff. So I called him up. I'm like, dude, I found you a TV stand, so you're gonna need to go pick it up. But he was like, yeah, I got it. You know, needed a little bit of like cleaning. I think one part was kind of broken, but he fixed it. I'm like, we just solved your problem, you know, and you got it for free. So yeah. I have Dan asked me how old I was before that. I'm 34, man.
Oh, did he? I didn't see him ask you.
Yeah, he's curious. But I have this harebrained scheme. So like in 11 days, my apartment complex is having a yard sale. So my harebrained scheme is, in 11 days, what can I pick from my dumpster and sell back to my apartment complex?
Well, because if they're all going to work, they're not checking the dumpster like you are.
That's right.
I mean, I watched your video on that, and the items that the people were leaving were, some of them were brand new, weren't they? Something was like still wrapped or whatever. Yeah, like that is just crazy. But you can tell whoever's leaving it out there is leaving it purposely, hoping that somebody else from the complex will grab it.
And we have we're around a couple of like community colleges too, and smaller colleges. So you have folks that, you know, like college kids who are just moving on. They just don't really care. So they just throw out whatever. Because I found like new wood tags, like Carhartt shirts. I found Patagonia. I'm like, what the heck? All right, why not? So,
yeah, we have in our neighborhood around us and over where my mom lives, in a town called Messina. For anybody, somebody is familiar with the area around here, they used to have, and they stopped it last year, but they used to have free pickup of any household items. So people would put all this stuff at the end of their driveway. And so for many years, I would come over to visit my parents and would just drive up and down all of the roads to see what kind of stuff I could kind of pick out from their end of their driveway. Now they stopped that, and now you have to bring it to the dump. You get a voucher to bring to the dump, which is unfortunate because there's just not a lot of thrift stores or places for people to donate stuff around here. Which, if I had a warehouse, I probably would, you know, take people's donations and even go and pick them up, because people have garage sales, and then on Sunday they'll say free, and then if they even do it on Sunday, most of the time it's now Thursday and Fridays around here, and then Saturdays are free. But they'll just take everything to the dump, whatever's left over, and it's just kind of disappointing to think how much reusable stuff is going into the trash.
Yeah, and that's kind of like part of the motivation is not so much like reselling, and it's all like it's kind of an environmental thing, you know, just saving one more piece of plastic from going in the landfill. Especially like growing up, like we didn't have a whole lot of money, and just culturally, like, you know, my family, you used everything, you know, until it was just done. That was it, you know, or you found ways to repurpose things. You know, like even just like your Folgers thing, you know, your plastic container to hold coffee grounds, right? Like my grandmother would reuse that to store food. You know, like if you're an Asian household, like a tub of Cool Whip in the fridge is not really Cool Whip. like,
Yes.
like, just be warned, it's not Cool Whip. So
That's funny. I gotta laugh because we're the same way. I mean, I'm not Asian and my family's not Asian, but we're the same
yeah,
way. And
yeah,
my son growing up, and we definitely we're not poor. But he would sew his socks, and I'm like, we have money to go buy you some new socks. And he's like, but they're still perfectly okay, except for these worn out areas. And I'm like, okay, but I mean, I can buy you new socks, but he, I mean, I'm glad because that'll help him in the future in his life. And
right,
he's
right.
25, he'll be 26
Oop.
this year, and he's kind of continued on with that, just being really thrifty with what he does. And both my kids are actually like that, which really surprises me because I'm not like that.
Yeah,
But so I did see the comment about people just not wanting to. It's about convenience to just toss it versus traveling to properly donate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's wild, you know. I'll see stuff like car batteries and things like that. Okay. I mean, at least they're not throwing straight in the garbage. They leave it out for folks. Like if you want to go recycle it and get your 10-15 bucks, go for it. But it's to me, it's like to see how much waste. Like I worked in a restaurant, like as a kid, and I used to see food waste, and having been poor and in a place where things weren't quite as abundant, to see that happen, it's like, well, how, like, it marries two things. Like, why not kind of save the planet a little bit, make a little money off of it, and feed my family by doing some good. Everybody's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah. Food waste, I can imagine, especially with, I mean, portions just have gotten out of control over the years with how much you get. And yeah, it's crazy. Well, we're hitting the 4 o'clock, and I don't want to keep you beyond an hour of what I usually do. Um, I'm just looking to see if there's anything that I was like, I definitely wanted to ask him about this. I've really enjoyed watching you on the other channels, and
Thank
just
you.
your interviews and getting to know you, and exciting to hear. I'm a huge football fan, so when I heard
Yeah.
that your whole past with football and stuff, I am just kind of curious because I didn't hear why you left that profession and where brought you to where you are now. Because I know you're not even originally from Illinois, are you?
No, I'm not. So I basically, like, I got burnt out like anything else, and I was just unhappy. I kind of lost my way with like my purpose. I kind of started off like I wanted to heal people and do good, and then I got caught up in the fast pace of sports medicine. And at that time, man, I was making six figures. I was traveling. As far as like within the physical therapy world, I was an influencer, and it was just a lot, and what I kind of shared yesterday was like I was given the best version of myself to complete strangers, and given the worst version of myself to my family, and I was physically and mentally just getting depleted. And the whole reason why I even left like being an athletic trainer in pro sports was just so I could have time with my family. I knew nothing else. Like knowing that I wanted to be a doctor as a kid, I knew I wanted to be a dad. Like I knew I wanted to have a family. So that even like seeing my friends who got an earlier start and started their families a little sooner, like I would look at them with a little envy. Like, man, I want that. So part of what guided me out of the profession was wanting to be happy, and knowing that whole adage of like you can't buy everything with money. So I was earning six figures and I was miserable.
Yeah.
And to me, to struggle a little bit, that's okay. Like at the end of the day, like I don't have to call anybody to say, hey man, can I have paternal leave so that I could spend time with my wife and my son? When the pandemic went down, like my dad was recovering from cancer. He was actively going through chemo. I made a whole video about it. I have not released it just because I wasn't sure what folks would say with me going out during the whole pandemic stuff. But I drove cross country to make sure like my dad was going to be okay, because I didn't know if that was going to be the last time I would see him.
Right.
But I couldn't. There was no employer like, hey man, can I like have a week off? And then knowing that I have a kid coming soon, give me more time off. Being in medicine, like you're needed. So, illness does not take a vacation. So you're not really expected to either, which is tough. And I certainly to me, I want to do a good job. So if I'm treating somebody, I don't want to half-ass treat them either. And there are very few places, I've been fortunate enough where the places I've worked at where set up systems, but you think about if you have a medical provider that you're really close with, you trust, right? And then they change on you one day. They leave, they go on vacation. Just even for one day, you have somebody different, right? I think not that it's a pride thing. It's just that the patient gets something different. Sometimes people change the game plan, and that person doesn't get better as fast as I would like them to.
Right.
So sometimes that's my issue with continuity of care. So for me, to step back and, YouTube is a way that I can help folks as far as sharing some knowledge, and I'm careful to kind of watch and not just blindly regurgitate stuff that I'm seeing, here are the bolos. I saw this bolo somewhere, so I'm going to say it now. It's more of okay, well, I saw this. My initial research says this is something worthwhile to get into. I'm going to do it. And then if it's still relevant, I'll share my experience. But you'll rarely find me, jumping on the hype and as far as eBay or YouTube goes and sharing go out and buy this. Say, hey, look out for it, because you may not have 6 thrift stores around you where you can see the same things that I see. And I might not travel as much as you or have the eye to see, things at retail arbitrage. And what we hope when we kind of share those things, I guess, is that, hey, somebody said this one weird thing, Monster High dolls. That's in my head. I'm going to have Monster High dolls on my mental bolo list forever.
Yeah, I grab them. If I see them for $1 at a garage sale, I'll pick those suckers up and hang on till I have a lot of them and sell a whole lot. I've sold them for over $200, a lot of them that I pay $1 for here and there. Yeah.
And I think too, what I was telling you about, why not, instead of just because I think bolos change, right? We've already seen it. If you were selling clothes before the pandemic, you were you were kind of left high and dry. But if you were selling video games, this was probably the best quarter you've ever seen in your entire reselling career. I mean, right. I'm willing to bet at least. I know I was selling Wiis. I did not list a single Wii thing for 2-3 months when I had it for free. It was all profit until the pandemic stuff happened. I saw how much a Wii was going to go for. I was like, yeah, well, okay, I guess I'll list it now.
Yeah, it's funny because at the beginning of March, I actually took down some video games that I've had listed for quite a while. I had them in a lot. They didn't sell. No, I had them individually. Then I put them in a lot. They still weren't selling. So I had, when I started to do my inventory, pulled them down and threw them in a garage sale box. And I think it was about the middle of April, I said, oh my gosh, I should go check that garage sale box. What did I pull and throw in there? I mean, are there games, puzzles, whatever? And there were video games, and I took them and threw them back on, and probably 75% of them I've now sold. So there's still a few that are hanging out there that I haven't sold. So, but as of right now, when you have free listings, might as well keep them up there. Come July, when we lose I have 50,000 free listings. When I lose those on eBay, then I will take down whatever I'm not going to sell. I'll probably just keep them on Mercari though, right? What does it hurt? It doesn't cost anything.
Exactly. And that's what I love about Mercari. I don't have to feel guilty, because I'm sure there are folks who are primarily selling on eBay. They're like, oh man, I'm already kind of at my limit with my store. Do I upgrade and then have a reason to go source more but pay more in the long run? Or do I just keep trying to sell what I already have? And I think that's some of the conundrums that I don't have to deal with Mercari. I'm like, oh, I'm at 300. Around this time, people are thinking, should I buy my store yet? Should I get my store?
Going, yeah.
I have a harder time relating with the folks. You better pay those eBay fees quarterly before they creep up on you. I'm like, all right, the Mercari stuff got taken out already. I don't have to pay anything on the back end. I just have to worry about taxes. That's it.
Yeah, that will change next month though on eBay with managed payments. They'll start taking out the fees right away. And because as I'm listing these cards, some of them I'm like, they're only worth $2-3. And if I didn't have my free listings right now, I probably wouldn't even take the time to even list a $3 card, because it's not worth the 10 cents. I mean, I'm paying 10 cents to list it, but it's just using up my allotted 1,000 listings that I
Absolutely.
have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I just wanted to thank you for coming though and wrap things up. Again, I really
Yeah.
respect your time and coming, especially with being a new dad. And Christina's probably like, get off so you can help me with whatever.
She
Or
baby's sleeping right now, so I
or
appreciate you having me on though.
or you can get some chores done and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So so you mentioned you're going to be on OBX's channel. Are you on that on a regular basis? Do you guys have a
Yes.
show?
So OBX, Eric at OBX, and Jacob at Midwest Bargains, the three of us do a show. We can. It's every Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, on OBX's channel. We keep it on his channel just for consistency, so folks aren't trying to figure out like who's it on. And with Jacob and I, we have so many things in flux. He seems to be the more stable guy in our trio, so we keep it there. This week we have What the Hales. Jeremy and George will be there, and we're going to focus on YouTube, how to grow your YouTube. Eric and I spend a lot of time researching, how we want to develop our content, how we want to lay out and strategize our channels, not only to grow but also to benefit others and to be timeless. I want to have it grow, videos to grow within a year that, I made it, and I don't have to think about it anymore. And so hopefully we can, offer more information. And Jeremy is going to offer a wealth of knowledge to help folks, with their YouTubes, because I think that's what they're passionate about. I think that's the direction they want to head into. So for anybody who feels a little bit more insecure or about their YouTube knowledge, their channel, or they just want to add on to what they already know, I think Friday night's going to be a great show.
Okay, yeah, I will. I'll add it to my list. I don't think I follow OBX. I see him in the chat. I'm pretty sure because it would have popped up on my feed, and I find lately I've been having a harder time finding stuff to actually watch. So I'll probably even go back and watch some of your previous episodes that you've done and
Awesome.
see what's going on. Oh, and Larry said, don't forget bingo is at 5. That's right.
Yep.
Bingo at 5. And I think it's on Johnny's channel.
Is it? Yes. I think Johnny said that on Saturday.
Yeah. So Cajun Roots Reselling. Anybody who wants to go play bingo. And I think Cajun Roots, he's going to do the real bingo cards rather than picking the numbers.
Okay.
So those who like to play like real bingo and stuff. Yeah, but it's all electronic, which is nice. I was doing bingo for a while, but boy, it got really expensive. I had to back off from that. It was like $50 every time I was holding bingo. So
yeah,
I said, I'm not really getting the benefit out of it that I was hoping to. So I'm not going to keep doing it. I might pop on every now and then and do it, but not on a regular basis. Yeah. Well, thanks again. And hopefully I will see you in the chat on Friday at 8 o'clock.
Definitely. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out, like anybody needs anything.
Well, I am going to hit you up. I think you said on Instagram, because I wanted to talk to you about neuropathy and my husband's hip, because you said, you might be able to help, maybe give him tips or something. I don't know, he needs
we can talk about, there's some hip procedures, like special hip procedures we should talk about, and so your husband can get, if he gets it done right, he should be able to walk within the first week, no problem.
Okay. I will. I'll hit you up on that.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Yes.
Bye, everybody, for showing up.